Welcome to the State of the Market with knowledgeable realtor Scott Zaino. Sit back and relax as Scott lifts the curtain on Cape Cod's real estate stats. Buckle up and let's dive in. This is your monthly State of the Market report.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another State of the Market 2026, ending April of 2026. January, February, March, April. So the first 4 months of the year are behind us, and the second quarter is upon us, and we've got quite a few changes here and some great information to share with you guys. So I just want to go right into it. We're going to be going over the 5 sectors, right, that we always talk about, and the interest rates. There's been some changes to my platform, and it's all good. They've just our MLS has kind of like changed companies a little bit. So same information, just a little different graph. All right, let's get right into it and talk about our first item here. It's our active listings. So let me go ahead and just share my screen with you guys. Okay, so the first sector is our number of listings that are available at the end of um, April. We were sitting at 868 units. And in March, we were at 677 units. So we jumped up pretty good, 190 units month over month, right? So we're getting a little bit of traction. We're getting more sellers to, um, think about getting their property listed and sold. And perhaps there'll be some more coming on as time goes and the weather gets a little bit better. Is that a lot or a little, Scott? Well, I got my graph situated here for a 5-year picture. So March of 2020, which was my birthday, there was 2,126 listings. Now that includes land, condominiums, and residential properties. So today, is that a lot of inventory? That's almost half of what we had before COVID, right? 868 units is just a smidgen under a couple thousand. Would put us at 1,000. We're at 868. So we're about 55% short inventory than we were before COVID. You can see right here during COVID, there was 2,100, and then inventory just has been kind of like bouncing along here, the bottom of the ocean floor here, right? So today we're sitting at 868 units. Let's talk about the next sector, which is our sold average price. Okay. So for the end of April, the sold average price was 919,000. What was it in March? It was just over 1 million. So the average sale price, dropped a little bit little over 100,000 from month to month. But if you can see this graph and why it's so important to invest in real estate, you can see the average sold price in April of 2026 was 919. But let's go back just the 5 years, and the average sale price was 600,000. So is it safe to say that if you bought a house 5 years ago for 600, that it's worth 900 today? Absolutely. Absolutely. Everybody knows that real estate doubles every 8 to 10 years, right? And so we're on that trend. And we get some peaks and some valleys and some dips and some highs and some lows. Of course, you're always going to have that. It's like the stock market, right? But today we're sitting right there at 919, the average price here on Cape Cod. Let's talk about the next sector, which is our sale to list price. And I have the sale to list price at 97.7. What was it in March? 97.6. So that's a push. So the sale to list price ratio tells us as brokers and sellers and buyers, because we relay this information to educate and inform everybody, right, on what's going on. Like, what should I expect to get if I sell my house for $1 million? Well, according to this graph at the end of April, if you had your house listed for 1 million, you should get 970,000 and seven, so 970,000. Now, have I seen properties go over? Yes. Have I seen properties go under? Yes. So they vary depending on the three P's, and I talk about this all the time, right? You got to make sure that your prices, um, the price of the property is positioned properly, and then you have your presentation. How does that property look inside and out? And then, of course, your promotion. How good of a job are you doing marketing that property and exposing it to the world, right? So today we're at 97.7, which is very good. Okay. The market is excellent. Um, let's talk about your average days on market. So this one at the end of April was 61. And in March, it was 66. So we've put properties under contract 5 days sooner from March to April. And that makes perfectly good sense because February was a rough month with the weather, and a lot of people were still away. So 61 days is your average days on market. If you were to sell your house, it would take an average of 61 days. Now, I see houses selling for much quicker than that, right, over the weekend. And I see some hanging, right? But your average is going to be about 60 something days, 61 days. Okay. Let's talk about what type of market we're in, and that's months of inventory. So this tells us as real estate agents, and again, we share this information with our sellers and buyers of what type of market are we in. And so 4 months of inventory or less, oops, 4 months of inventory or less is a seller's market. And we've been in a seller's market for a long, long time since COVID. I would say the last time that we were right at COVID, we were at right before COVID, it was 6.7. So it was more of a buyer's market back then. And right after COVID, you see all this inventory here, right? And so this is telling us that we got 3.6 months of inventory before we run out. And a seller's market is 4 months or under. And we're just creeping under the 4 months. So perhaps in the next month or two, if we get more inventory, it'll turn out to be more of a neutral market where it's not a seller's market, but not a buyer's market, like a neutral market. So 4 months or less is a seller's market. 5 months would be a neutral market. And then anything over 5 months or so is a buyer's market. All right. March was, let's see, March was 2.79. Of course, you saw that big influx of inventory that we put on of 190 properties. So that changes that number, which brings it up to today at 3.62. All right, I'm going to go ahead and just stop my screen share real quick. All right, there we are. All right, so let's talk about interest rates. So we've got some things that are happening in the month of May with the Fed chairman, leaving office, so to speak. We've already got somebody to replace him, from what I understand. And I think, in my opinion, this is just my opinion from what I've seen and read and what I've heard, that we're going to probably see some interest rates. Now, how big, I don't know. They could be a quarter point, half point. I think at the end of the day, you're probably going to get a half right off the bat. I could be wrong. Let's see what happens around the 15th of May. But anything helps, right? So for today, a 30-year fixed, you're sitting around 6.4. Okay. Just last month it was 5.99, and then it kind of jumped up a little bit, so we're at 6.4. 30-year fixed 6.4. 15-year fixed 5.7 looks like. All right. 30-year FHA, Federal Housing Administration, 5.9. 30-year Veterans Administration, 5.6. And then if you're looking for a jumbo loan, somewhere around 800,000, 30-year jumbo is going to run you around 6.5. So there you have it for the state of the market for the Barnstable County from Plymouth to P-Town. Keep in mind, all this information that I share with you is local. So real estate is local, right? So what's happening here on the Cape may not necessarily be what's happening in the Midwest or down south or Florida or Texas. Okay. But I can share with you one thing, and I can be very honest about this, is the market here on Cape Cod in the Northeast and Boston area is very, very robust. Um, and buyers are out there looking every day, and we've got more inventory coming on the market. So if you were thinking of selling, this is the perfect time. So please keep us in mind. Give us a call, 508-566-0051, or shoot me an email at sjzano@gmail.com. Thank you so much for watching, and we will catch you next month on the state of the market here. I'm Scott Zaino with Keller Williams. Thank you so much, and have a great day.